The cold, metallic walls of Galactic Penitentiary 47 hummed with a faint energy, the artificial gravity maintaining a steady pull. The prison was home to the worst criminals from various corners of the universe: murderers, smugglers, warlords, and pirates. Among them sat a lone human, Daniel Carter, on a bench in the common area, staring at his food tray with mild boredom. To the other prisoners, he seemed weak. Humans were not a common species in this sector of the galaxy, and those who had heard of them assumed they were fragile, primitive creatures. To the dominant species, the massive, brutish Gorak, the venomous Valteri, and the four-armed reptilian Sorthak, humans were insignificant. The three biggest bullies of the prison, Korger the Gorak, Silit the Valteri, and Dravex the Sorthak, had made it their mission to establish dominance over every new inmate, and now their eyes locked onto Daniel. "Hey, pink skin," Korger rumbled, stepping forward. His 8-foot-tall frame cast a shadow over Daniel. "You're sitting in our spot." Daniel looked up lazily, chewing his food. "Didn't see your name on it." Dravex's forked tongue flicked out in amusement. "You don't seem to understand how things work here, human. Weak creatures like you don't get to talk back." Silith's tail swayed dangerously. "Maybe we should teach him a lesson." The surrounding prisoners turned to watch. Everyone knew what was coming. New prisoners were always tested, and most gave in quickly. But Daniel, he sighed and pushed his tray away. "I was hoping to finish my meal first." Korger sneered and reached down to grab Daniel's shirt, but before he could react, Daniel's hand shot up like lightning, gripping the alien's wrist in a vice-like hold. There was a sickening crunch, followed by a roar of pain as Korger's arm bent in a way it wasn't supposed to. The entire prison yard went silent. Korger stumbled back, clutching his broken wrist, his face contorted in agony. Dravex hissed in disbelief, and Silith's eyes widened. The human had moved too fast, too precisely. That wasn't normal. Daniel stood up slowly, cracking his knuckles. "I don't like bullies." Dravex roared and lunged forward, all four of his arms swinging wildly. Daniel sidestepped effortlessly, grabbed one of the alien's wrists, and twisted. A sharp snap echoed through the air as the Xorthak's lower left arm broke. Before he could recover, Daniel delivered a devastating punch to his gut, sending him sprawling to the ground, gasping for air. Silith hesitated. Her species relied on speed and venom, but something about this human made her instincts scream danger. Still, her pride wouldn't let her back down. She lashed out with her tail, a needle-like stinger aiming for Daniel's neck. But Daniel was already moving. He caught the tail mid-strike, gripping it so tightly that Silith screeched in pain. With a sharp tug, he sent her crashing into the table, her own momentum working against her. She lay groaning, unable to stand. The silence in the prison was deafening. Daniel dusted off his hands and sat back down. "Now that that's settled, I'd like to finish my meal." The onlookers slowly backed away. Word would spread fast. This human was not to be messed with. Even the prison guards, who usually ignored fights unless they got out of hand, exchanged nervous glances. As Daniel resumed eating, Korgar, still clutching his broken wrist, managed to stammer out, "What are you?" Daniel glanced up, a small smirk forming. Just a human. From that day on, no one dared to bully him again. Over the next few weeks, Daniel's reputation grew. Prisoners whispered about him in hushed tones. Some claimed he was an enhanced soldier. Others thought he was a genetically engineered super being. Whatever the truth was, no one wanted to challenge him. The guards began taking a special interest in him. Warden Silox, a towering insectoid with gleaming black mandibles, reviewed security footage of the fight. "This human is dangerous," he muttered. "Perhaps more dangerous than we anticipated." In his cell, Daniel maintained his routine. He worked out, observed his surroundings, and learned the prison's layout. He wasn't just surviving, he was planning. The Galactic Penitentiary 47 wasn't his final destination, and he had no intention of staying long. One night, as he lay on his bunk, a small alien named Triv, a rodent-like creature, scurried into his cell. "Human," Triv whispered, glancing around nervously. "You are not like others. I hear things. There it is, an opportunity." Daniel sat up. Go on. There is an escape plan. Some are trying to break out next cycle. You may be interested. Daniel's eyes gleamed with interest. He had been waiting for something like this. Tell me everything. The next day, Korgur, Silith, and Dravax, still nursing their injuries, avoided him. They had learned their lesson, but they had no idea that Daniel was already moving on to his next challenge, escaping from the most secure prison in the galaxy. And if anyone got in his way, they would regret it.